Can you follow? Right, that's batch costing. What is the costing method? The costing method is the same as this. Job cost sheet, but if you're doing for batch, then batch. So for job, listen, for job, you do the same thing, right? For job costing, that will be price per unit. Or if it is batch costing, it will be price per batch. Any questions? Job costing is for 1 unit, batch costing is for batch. Can you understand that? All right, now listen.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes, okay, sorry.
Yes.
Just check if you're paying attention. Am I talking too fast? I hope not. Right? Can you follow?
No.
Right.
No,
Okay.
Explanation, sir.
No, sir.
Faham tak?
Faham.
Faham. Okay, good.
Explanation.
If you farm, then I'll continue, right? Okay. So can you understand that? It's very simple. So recap again. Let's recap again. Job costing, 1 unit. Batch costing, more than 1 unit, but there's a limit. All right? Yeah. Why? Because tomorrow will be a different batch. Something different you're going to manufacture. All right. Earlier I said making uniforms. So I have a factory which makes uniforms. Yeah. Right. So obviously I'll have different orders from different clients. And although the uniform design is broadly the same, but there will be differences. Example, the color of the fabric, the company brand, etc. All that will be different. So today I make 1 batch, tomorrow I'll make another batch, each to specific clients. Can you follow? That's the difference between job costing and batch costing, right? Okay, now let's move along. I think we can look at our lecture notes now. Here we go, right? Okay, batch costing, okay? Now, you have these lecture notes. I'm going to read through this with you. And there's some examples there, all right? Yeah, and we are also going to look at some of these examples, yeah, right? Now, if you look at that, we start with batch costing. Job costing, I think my explanation earlier is sufficient, all right? As I said, I repeat the 4th time I'm saying this. Job is only for 1 unit, but batch is for many, right? The costing systems, everything the same. Only difference, job is 1, batch is many. That's all right? But the costing system, the overhead allocation, the cost accumulation, the material, the labor, the overhead, the blah, 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 all the same, all right? Okay, so we come to batch costing now. It says, if you read that, it says another form of job costing, which is adopted in case of manufacturing of large number of components of machines of other articles. Yes, it can be components, it can be clothing, all right, it can be newspaper. Do you follow what I'm saying? All right, all this uses batch costing, all right, and it says, since a large number of them are manufactured together and pass through the same process of manufacture, it is convenient to collect the cost of manufacture together. Exactly. So that's why I say, if you remember what I wrote just now, I said, here, all right, batch job, the cost sheet is the same, but the only difference, job is for 1, batch is per batch. So under batch costing system, we don't need to work out the cost one by one. We calculate the batch. In the end, if you want to find the cost for 1 unit, very simple. Take the total cost and then divide by, take the total cost and then divide by the number of units. You get the cost per unit within that batch, in that batch, yeah? So as I was explaining here, yes, it says, it is convenient to collect the cost of manufacture together. Separate job cost sheets are maintained in each for each batch of products, and it says each batch is allotted a number, right? Yeah. Usually it's a code. Within a factory, we have a code. Batch number 123 or 897 or something like that. Yeah, there'll be a code there. All right. This is just to differentiate and ensure that the right batch is moving along the right direction. Yeah. Continue. And it says each batch selects a number. Material requisitions are prepared batch-wise. Direct labor is engaged batch-wise. And the overheads are also recovered batch-wise. You see, we measure everything by the batch because we know that within the batch, every unit made is the same. You get what I mean? It's a batch of homogeneous units. Within the batch, it's the same. But between one batch and another batch, that's different. Do you understand? Right? If you take one whole batch, every unit within the batch is similar. But between different batches, that changes. All right. So it says each batch selects a number, material requisition prepared batch-wise, exactly going by the batch. Direct labor is engaged even by the batch, and overheads are also recovered or allocated by the batch. All right. And it says the cost of each component of the batch is then determined by dividing total cost and number of articles manufactured. Simple. So we don't calculate one by one first. We calculate in total for the batch. The final number, we add everything up. The last number, divide by number of units. Can you follow that? Next, features of batch costing. Yeah. Features of batch costing are, as you can see underneath here, it says batch costing is applied in industries where identical products are manufactured. All right, identical, they're all the same one by one, right? Within a batch, be careful. A batch is a cost unit, considers a separate, readily identifiable group of product units which maintain a separate identity throughout the production process, right? It's very fancy English, but in simple English, as I said just now, within a batch, everything is the same. You get what I mean? Different batch numbers, obviously different, but within the batch, they're all the same. Do you see that? It says readily identified group product units. Yeah. Now, listen, before I continue, some terminology that sometimes confuses students. It says a batch is a cost unit. All right. Now, what is cost unit? Right. Let me explain that. Cost unit is not the same as cost per unit. They have different meaning. Can you follow? Right. Watch. So if you take the meaning of the word cost unit, the identifiable output of a production, identifiable output for a production process, comma, production process, comma, for which cost can be allocated. All right. Identifiable output of production process for which cost can be allocated. Listen, so cost unit is essentially what is the output coming out. Yeah. So let me give you an example. Yeah. Let's say you're talking about Toyota. The cost unit will be each unit of model, sorry, what's this? Is there anyone? Sorry. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Next. Sorry. Yeah. Each unit of different model made. Toyota makes many different models, isn't it? You know, you have Corolla, you have yours, you've got Camry, or whatever other models they make. Yeah, each model is a cost unit, right? If you take Coca-Cola, the cost unit will be Coke, Sprite, etc. I mean, Coca-Cola makes so many drinks here, and each one of it is a particular cost unit. Of course, I don't think Coca-Cola measures on a per can basis. I think usually their measurement is a little bit bigger. I think it's per crate or per pack or something like that. Yeah. All right. If you talk about newspaper, all right, each copy of a newspaper. All right. Now listen. Later, please keep this in mind. Yeah. Cost unit. Yeah. Later, I think towards the end of today's lesson, I'll be talking about service costing. And when I talk about service costing, you will realize that finding out the cost unit for services is actually much more challenging, not so simple. All right. Cost unit for manufacturing is so much easier, but cost unit for services is more challenging. All right. So do you understand what is cost unit? All right. Again, by definition, identifiable output of a production process for which cost can be allocated. When you say cost per unit, the unit cost of a cost unit. I know it sounds really confusing. The unit cost of a cost unit, right? It sounds really confusing, but don't be confused, all right? Again, I repeat, cost unit, what's the output? Cost per unit, each output, how much does it cost? Simple English, all right? So the unit cost of a cost unit. I really hope I'm not confusing. If you come back to your note, sorry, have you got that? Now, if you come back to your note, you will find that it says a batch is a cost unit which consists of, all right, cost unit which consists of separate, readily identifiable group of product units which maintains a separate identity throughout the production process. Can you follow? That's your cost. A batch is a cost unit, yeah, right? So when you apply batch costing, each batch is seen as a cost unit. Understand? Continue. The output of a batch consists of a number of units, not economical to ascertain the cost of every unit of output independently. Yes, we don't do that. So what do we do? Instead of working out the cost of every one unit, we work out the cost of the batch first. And as I said, once you work out the cost of a batch, the next step is very simple. Divide that by number of units and you get cost per unit. Very easy, yeah? And it says procedure is similar to excuse me, job costing. And it says each batch treated as a job and costs are calculated for total batch. Exactly. All right. And on completion of production, cost per unit is found as follows. So you just take the total batch cost, divide by units of batch. Again, if you are doing job costing, then it's very simple. Job costing, one batch, one unit. So that's why job costing, the whole thing, you work out the cost like that, and that's for one unit. All right. But batch is for many. Very, very simple point of difference. All right. Now, difference between job and batch costing is here. It's a good talking point. Yeah. It says job costing carried out or a product is produced by specific order. It's made to order, job costing, just like batch costing. That's why we call it specific order costing. Broadly, that's the term to describe what is job and what is batch costing. Specific order costing, right? Made to order. X, it is determined for each job, right? Sorry, let's look at this. Process product has a continuous flow product is homogeneous. You know what's homogeneous? All right. Sorry. So under batch costing, all products within a batch are homogeneous, i.e., they are the same. They're not different. So within a batch, they're all the same. All right. I keep saying this. Different batches, it will be different. All right. But inside that batch, it'll be the same. Can you all follow what I'm talking about? All of you. All right. Yeah. Okay. Now, coming back to my notes. All right. Process producing the product has continuous flow, products homogeneous within the batch. Be careful. Job costing determined for each job, compiled on time basis. That means once you complete the batch, you accumulate the cost for that batch. And I repeat, to find the cost of one unit within the batch, what do? We take the total batch cost, divide by units in the batch. Simple, right? Each job is separate and independent of other jobs. All right. And products lose the individual as they are manufactured continuous flow. Yeah, each unit within the batch is the same. I'm repeating my point, right? Okay. Now, application of batch costing. All right. Yeah. It says batch costing is used for calculating the total cost of each batch. Batch is small group of units. All right. And which is produced for production purposes. All right. Simple English. We apply batch costing knowing that although we're going to make the product for a period of time, we're not going to make it forever. All right. To explain this point, yeah, there is a point of difference between batch costing and something called process costing, which I will teach you on Wednesday, right? Process costing is a bit longer, it's a bit more complex, but nevertheless, I'll explain it. Yeah. So I repeat my point. When you people are joining in late, is it? I'll just admit all. Okay, right. So as I was saying, yeah, batch costing, you're going to make it of a period of time. For example, yeah, let's say you've got a movie that is very popular. Example, Transformers. All right. Now you're not going to make this toy forever, isn't it? Correct. I'm actually sitting right now. I'm sitting in my kids' old toy room. Yeah. So that's why I'm surrounded by all kinds of toys. Yeah. I've got Optimus Prime looking at me from up there. Bumblebee is looking at me from up there. All right. Yeah. So anyway, yeah. Right. All these toys were my kids' toys when they were growing up. Anyway. Now listen. So I'm going to make this toy. Am I going to make this forever? I don't think so. All right. I'm going to make it for a period of time. All right. Yeah. While the movie is popular, I guess. Correct. And then it stops. So you got to contrast that with process costing. Now, process costing, you're going to keep making the product forever. Good example. Let's say I'm a factory making. I'm a factory in KL making Nescafe. All right. Now, if I make Nescafe, I'm going to make that forever, isn't it? Why? Because people are always waking up in the morning and drinking coffee. I drink Nescafe every day. I can't imagine not having a cup of coffee. I would love to have a fancy cup of coffee, especially brewed and all that. But, we're all working people. So early morning, instant coffee is our go-to coffee. I don't have time to brew a nice hot pot of coffee and sit down and enjoy it. No time for that, right? So everybody drinks Nescafe. So do you think they're ever going to stop making Nescafe? Answer is no. All right. As long as people are going to drink coffee, and I can't see anyone stopping that, we will always drink coffee and continuous production. That process, we call it process costing, not batch costing. Can you follow what I'm saying? Right? Yeah. Let's come back to this point. Batch costing is used for calculating total cost of each product. Batch is small group of units produced for production purposes. We also identify batch of units in our production. All raw materials supplied on batch basis and other expenses are also paid on the basis of each batch. Exactly. All right. Next, For instance, the drugs industry producer will make the batch of tablets instead of producing single tablet. Yeah. Like right now, the whole world is making COVID-19 vaccine. Yeah, we are doing what we're doing right now because of COVID-19. Now, if not for COVID-19, I would probably be in Bangi right now teaching you, isn't it? I'll be seeing you, and you'll be seeing me, correct? Yeah. But that can't happen, yeah, because of COVID-19. Now, so a lot of these drug companies, what are they doing? They're actually making the COVID-19 vaccine in batches. Now, I can imagine that there'll come a point in time when they will stop making this. All right. I don't know when this will happen, but maybe in the future, some point in the future, maybe half the world will be vaccinated, or 70% or 80% of the world will be vaccinated. And when that happens, all right, when virtually everybody is vaccinated, COVID-19 will not be an issue anymore. Can you follow? All right. Yeah. Okay. So they make it in batches. Yeah. Right. It says, for instance, drug industry producer will make the batch of tablets instead of producing a single tablet. Easy to sell that batch in market. So calculating cost of each batch, we'll calculate material cost per batch, labor cost per batch, and other expenses per batch. That is true. If you want to calculate cost per unit, we have to divide the total cost batch with total batch units as per this working. All right. Okay. Now, use in the following industries: manufacturing industry for ready-made garment, yeah, clothes, right? This is not processed, yes, although it might all be made in the same factory, they produce in batches. You know what I mean? Yeah. Once a batch is completed, all right, only then you move on to a different batch, and they won't make the same batch all the time. I'm not really I'm not really a shopper. I don't actually go into shopping malls and look for clothing. I don't do that, but not often, right? But I can imagine that people who like shopping would like to see something new. That's why everything is produced in batches. Once something becomes not so fashionable anymore, they'll stop making it and a new design comes in. Can you follow? Ready-made garment, batch costing. Manufacturing industry for toys. Exactly. That is also, I believe, batch costing, isn't it? Right? You go batch by batch. Yeah, right? Next. Then we have manufacturing industry for tires and tubes and stuff like that. Probably also batches. Yeah. Now I'm going to take you through an example. Take a look at that. Yeah, right? It says exercise 1. All right. It says you are required to prepare a batch cost sheet of an engineering works showing the cost of batch number 8801 of 1,000 units from the following information. Then it says you're given that the batch passes through 3 departments, X, Y, and Z. It's like a series of stages of processes. All right. Now, direct materials issued cost incurred for the batch, direct material issued to Department X is 5,400 kg at $10 per kg. Excuse me. Department Y is 600 kg at $8 per kg. And you also have Department Z, which is 500 kg at $20 per kg. Interesting. And then you got direct wages, 1,000 hours at $2 per hour, 200 hours at $2.50 per hour, and Department Z is 1,000 hours at 1.5 per hour. That's fairly straightforward, right? And factory overhead, you have Department X, 150% direct wages at $10. Actually, I think it's a typing error. Yeah. Can you change that? It should be, you got department, let me show you, you got Department X, Y, and Z. If you have a hard copy in front of you, just alter that a bit. Department X is 150% of direct wages. A little bit of a typo there, not to worry. Department Y at $10 per labor hour. Last one is Z, 66 to 30% of direct wages. I think both of these is accidentally on the same line.